This is such a good chapter. It's Luke chapter 15, the parable of the lost sheep. The tax collectors and sinners were gathering around to hear Jesus, but the Pharisees and teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told them this parable. "Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and goes after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors, and together they say, 'Rejoice, I've found my lost sheep.' I tell you, in the same way, there'll be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than 99 righteous people who did not need to repent." The parable of the lost coin. Or suppose a woman had 10 silver coins and loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there's rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. And finally, the parable of the lost son. Jesus continued, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Give me a share of the estate.' So he divided the property between his 2 sons. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and squandered his wealth in wild living. After he'd spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of the country, who sent him to the fields to feed the pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, 'How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare? And here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for his son. He ran to him, threw his arms around him and kissed him. The son said to him, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm not worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. This son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. He came near the house and heard the music and the dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked, 'What's going on?' 'Your brother has come,' he replied. 'Your father's killed the fattened calf because he's back safe and sound.' The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out to him and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, 'Look, all these years I've been slaving for you, never disobeyed you. Yet you never gave me a young goat so I could celebrate. But when this son of yours who squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him.' 'My son,' the father said, 'you're always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.'" This is such a good chapter. Like, Jesus is saying, again and again, whether you're a lost sheep, a lost coin, or a lost son, whether you've wandered off, whether you've gone missing, or whether you've deliberately gone astray and, squandered what you had, God welcomes you back. He wants you. He rejoices when he finds you, when you repent, when you turn back to him. And it's just a wonderful chapter. And I just want to encourage you, whatever you feel like, if you feel distant from God, if you feel lost, if you feel like you've gone your own way, if you feel like you've abandoned your faith, God is waiting to welcome you back with wide open arms. And there will be rejoicing in the presence of God by the angels when you or me or whoever repents and turns to God. So be encouraged. God is, it's not a closed door. There's very much an open door. You can turn to him, enter in, come back to him today. He really does love you. So be encouraged and God bless.